Hi there. As if rising inflation and interest rates weren't bad enough, well, throw rising energy costs into the mix as well, as many households were stung by higher bills across Australia this month. As we can see here, the issue was known about for months. So why is it happening, and what is the impact on everyday households and the rest of the economy as well? For more, we're joined by Will Banks from Shillings Capital. Will, great to see you. How much are energy prices actually rising by at a time where we're being warned about inflation?
Yeah, if you look at it since 2013, the household electricity costs have surged by 72%. Gas prices have risen by 54%. So, in the last decade, that's a huge increase. In particular, in the second quarter of 2021, global energy prices have actually tripled, which again is a huge increase. And bearing in mind that energy is a significant cost for a lot of Australian manufacturers, with at least half of their cost base being energy, is having a huge impact on the economy and households.
Why are they rising? It feels like it is the worst case scenario, the perfect storm of obviously the war in Ukraine, which has pushed up global energy prices. But for a country like Australia that produces its own gas, that produces its own coal-fired power stations were built right next to coal pits and coal mines for the very reason of having cheap electricity. Why is all of a sudden this year, this past month, things are rising?
Well, exactly. You'd think it wouldn't really have as much of an impact. The invasion in Ukraine is a major reason of why people's energy bills are rising internationally. But Australian households do rely pretty heavily on fossil fuels, and there is a genuine international shortage of these fuels. What is worth mentioning is that the gas corporations in Australia are war profiteering, looking to maximise profits, as Australia does have vast reserves in national gas. And in fact, Australia is the largest gas importer in the world. So to put that into perspective, 80% of all Australian gas is sent overseas. And at the moment,
how is this allowed to happen, though? Because governments, essentially, they may have privatised energy markets in some of the states, but they still have a lot of control. How is this being allowed to occur?
It just is. There is regulation around it, but it's a free market. And if that's what the energy companies want to do, they'll do it. And with the Aussie dollar at a 9-month low, it's making gas exports even more attractive to global buyers. So I agree. I think that the government should have more of an impact and should try and restrict the amount that is actually being sent overseas, because it is having a huge impact on the Australian economy.
Queensland has an election coming up. Victoria, the Premier Daniel Andrews' opinion polls are down for the first time in a long time. Anthony Albanese, the Prime Minister's opinion polls are down. Surely now would be a time in a democracy where a leader would stand up and say, inflation is killing the economy. The measures to try and stop inflation are killing the economy and households even more. We're not really popular right now, so maybe we should step in and try and stop the things that we can control. For example, health insurance premiums, energy bills, as you mentioned, and even things like public transport, where the year turns around and they push up the prices. These are government-controlled things. Surely they should be helping people.
Completely agree. The fact that Australia at the moment doesn't actually produce enough renewables, I think that one of the things that state and federal government should be doing is major investment programs into producing more renewable energies.
Doesn't that just push up the costs even higher, though?
Oh, sorry, someone called.
Doesn't it just push up the costs even higher, though?
Not necessarily. If you've got more renewable energy and therefore you've got more supply in the market, it essentially means that the prices should come down. At the moment, the problem is that you've got gas that's been sent abroad. You've then got other renewable energy that at the moment there isn't enough supply to go around, and therefore there is that restriction in the market. So what the government can do, they can either stop the amount of gas that's being sent abroad, or they can invest more heavily into renewable energy, which will mean that actually the price of that particular energy will come down, and everybody will benefit.
And just finally, what impact is it having on the broader economy, these rising energy prices?
It's pushing up inflation. It's a big concern, and it is pushing up inflation. It is making households stressed. It is pushing the cost of living up. It's pushing up the cost of manufacturing, as we've already covered, that a large proportion of costs in businesses is their energy, and they've got to pass it on to somebody. And where does it go? It gets passed on to the end product price.
Yeah. All right. We'll leave it there for now. Will Banks, appreciate your time as always. Thank you. And that is the program for now. For more, head to tickernews.com. Aaron Young, do hope to see you soon.